Now we will see food chain. A food chain represents the sequence through which energy flows in an ecosystem. It is a linear arrangement of who eats whom in an ecosystem. The sun is the ultimate source of energy for all of the Earth's ecosystems. Autotrophs or producers are the starting point of every food chain. They use the sun's energy to form energy rich organic compounds during photosynthesis. This energy moves through the ecosystem as one organism consumes another for food. The arrows shows how energy flows from one organism to the next. The flow of energy is unidirectional and moves from the producers to the consumers in an ecosystem. The primary consumer insect eats grass, and some energy and organic compounds stored in the grass are transferred to the insect. When the insect is eaten by the mouse, some energy and organic compounds is transferred from insect to the mouse. This pattern continues through the food chain. The dead plants and animals at any stage they are broken down by the decomposers and the nutrients are recycled. Only some of the energy is transferred when one organism consumes another. At every step in a food chain, part of the energy is used by the organism for its metabolic activities, and part is lost as heat in the surroundings. Due to this energy loss, most food chains cannot support more than 4 or 5 links. Each step or stage of a food chain is known as trophic level. Now we will see trophic levels. A trophic level is a stage or feeding position in a food chain that indicates the flow of energy and nutrients through the ecosystem. Energy and matter are transferred each time one organism consumes another. The trophic level of an organism shows how far its consumption pattern of nutrients and energy is from the original source of light, sunlight. Now we will see different trophic levels in a food chain. Now we will see first trophic level. The producers or autotrophs that make their own food by the process of photosynthesis form the first trophic level of all food chains. Green plants, algae and phytoplankton form the first trophic level of most food chains. Now we will see second trophic level. The primary consumers that directly feed on producers form the second trophic level of the food chain. Herbivores such as cow, sheep and horse generally form the second trophic level. Omnivores such as humans, bears that directly feed on plants, they also form second trophic level of many food chains. Now let's see third trophic level. The secondary consumers that eat the primary consumers form the third trophic level of the food chain. Carnivores such as spider, frog, lion, tiger, cheetah or omnivores also can be secondary consumers. Now next we will see fourth trophic level. Tertiary consumers that eat the secondary consumers form the fourth trophic level of the food chain. Carnivores such as eagle, hawk and omnivores such as bear can be tertiary consumers. Now we will see fifth trophic level. Some food chains have quaternary consumers, means carnivores or omnivores that eat the tertiary consumers. These form the fifth trophic level of the food chain. Some organisms can be a part of more than one trophic level depending on what they eat. For example, humans can be at second trophic level if they eat plants such as vegetables. They can be at the third or fourth trophic level if they eat chicken or meat. Decomposers feed on waste and dead organic matter of from all trophic levels. They recycle nutrients back into the soil or water and are critically important to all trophic levels of a food chain. Now let's see examples of trophic levels. First trophic level, grass, producer. Second trophic level, insect, primary consumer, herbivore. Third trophic level, mouse, secondary consumer, omnivore. Fourth trophic level, snake, tertiary consumer, carnivore. Fifth trophic level, hawk, quaternary consumer, carnivore. Now we will see food webs. The feeding habits of the organism in an ecosystem do not always follow the linear pathway of a food chain. Most organisms eat more than one food and are a part of several food chains in an ecosystem. A food web is a network of several interconnected food chains in an ecosystem. It represents all that an organism eats and can be eaten by. Food webs give a more complete picture of the feeding relationships between organisms in an ecosystem. Now we will see food chains and food webs in forest ecosystem. The flora and fauna of forest ecosystem is diverse and depends on the type of forest. There are several interconnected food chains in a forest ecosystem. Every food chain in the forest ecosystem starts with the producers, that is shrubs, plants or trees. There are many different secondary, tertiary and quaternary consumers in forest that can eat the primary consumers. The scavenger, such as vulture, eat any dead organisms. The decomposers break down the dead organic matter and release the nutrients back into the soil of a forest ecosystem. Now we will see pyramid of numbers. The pyramid of numbers is a graphical or diagrammatic representation that shows the relative number of organisms at each trophic level in an ecosystem. All ecological pyramids begin with the producers at the base of the pyramid and proceed through different trophic levels. The top consumer forms the apex or tip of the pyramid. The pyramid of numbers varies from ecosystem to ecosystem. It can be upright, partly upright, or sometimes inverted depending on the ecosystem. In most ecosystems, the pyramid of numbers is upright as fewer organisms occupy the higher trophic levels. The number of organisms decreases as we go up from the lower to the higher trophic levels. In grassland and pond ecosystem, the number of producers, that is plants or grasses, is more than the number of primary consumers. The number of organisms in these both ecosystems keeps decreasing at each higher trophic level. the number of tertiary and quaternary consumers is very few. The pyramid of numbers in the ecosystems is therefore upright. Sometimes in a pyramid, the number of individuals increases from lower level to higher trophic level. For example, tree ecosystem. In a forest, let us consider a tree. Each tree supports many herbivores in a forest ecosystem. The number of organisms that feed on herbivores, such as parasites or carnivores, may be fewer or more than the herbivores, depending on the number of each type of organisms at the trophic levels. Now we will see interdependence between organisms. In this we will see competition, symbiosis. In symbiosis we will see parasitism, mutualism and commensalism, and then we will see predation. Organisms in an ecosystem cannot live independently. They depend on other organisms for food, shelter, or to help them reproduce. Organisms interact with other members of their own species as well as the members of other species. Competition, symbiosis, and predation are three ways in which organisms interact with and depend on each other. Now we will see predation. A relationship between two organisms where one organism captures and eats the other is known as predation. The organism that is eaten is known as the prey. The organism that feeds on the prey is known as the predator. For example, when a wolf eats a rabbit, here the wolf is a predator and a rabbit is prey. The relationship between the wolf and a rabbit is known as the predation. Now we will see competition. A relationship in which both organisms compete for food, light and space is known as competition. Competition could be among the organisms of the same species or between organisms of different species. It is generally seen when the resources are limited. For example, lions and cheetahs may compete for the same prey. Plants may grow taller than other plants to receive more sunlight. Now we will see symbiosis. The word symbiosis means living together. A symbiotic relationship is seen between two organisms that live in close physical association with each other. Symbiotic relationships are of three types. First, mutualism, second, commensalism, and third, parasitism.